Hi everybody, it's Kasia from the Niagara-on-the-Lake Public Library. I'm sorry for the little bit of a delay today. We've been trying out some new technology to see how we can make our live streams even better. And just like technology usually goes, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So thanks for your patience. I'm sorry if you've been waiting, but thanks for joining us today on International Donut Day. So happy International Donut Day. Today what we're going to be making is a donut painting. So something just like this. And then after we're done making the donuts, I actually have a really cool link to share that I found on YouTube to make 2-ingredient donuts. And I actually made them yesterday. They turned out pretty good. So they're like donut holes though. They're not like beautiful donuts like this. But they taste just as good. Okay, so again, thanks for joining us. What we're going to do is make this donut, and it's actually really easy. It's just a few different colors, very simple lines, very simple shapes. And before we get started, I'll do a quick run through of materials you're going to need. So just like any other time you've joined me for Create with Kasia, you're going to need water to wash your brush. My water's pretty dirty already, so I was kind of playing around with it. You're going to need a paper towel to blot your brushes after you wash it. You're going to need some brushes. So I have my trusty 3 here. I have a fine point brush, my square flat brush, and I have a bigger flat brush if I decide to use it. Always good to have a spare. You're going to need drawing materials, so I have a pencil and an eraser. You're going to need a surface to paint on, so I'm using a piece of paper, just like I did for this one. You're also going to need to make sure you're working somewhere that is covered. So I have a big piece of watercolor paper down here. This protects my surface from getting paint on it. If you are painting at home, which I hope all of you are, make sure that you're not painting, on the couch or the carpet or anywhere new or important. You want to make sure that you're painting somewhere that you can clean after. And just like every other time, make sure that you're wearing painting clothes. So things you don't mind getting paint on. And then the most important thing you need today are some paints. So you're going to need black and white, brown for the main part of your donut, as well as a frosting color. So I have pink. You don't have to use pink. You can use whatever color you want. And then some other colors for the sprinkles. So from these 2 colors, this yellow and this green, if I mix them with the pink, I can get other colors. So you don't need to have every single color under the rainbow on your palette. You can always mix those colors. And speaking of rainbow, I'm gonna tuck my little rainbow in right over there because why not? Love that rainbow. Okay, so you know what? Let's get started. Thank you again for your patience, everybody. Technology is wonderful when it works. Sometimes it doesn't, and we just have to make the best of it, okay? So let's get started. What you're going to need to grab first are your pencil and an eraser. If you have an eraser on the end, even better. Mine is very small, it doesn't work. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a circle. Now it doesn't have to be super straight. Donuts are not super straight. They kind of have like a little bit of squared edges, not symmetrical. Also, see how I'm drawing it? I'm not doing one big line. I'm kind of working my way. I'm pressing really lightly with the pencil, just like so. Yeah, so there we go. First layer of my donut. And see how I tried to fill as much of my space as possible? You don't want to make a little donut right in the middle, although that would look really kind of cute. You want to make it nice and big, okay? Next thing we're going to do is we're going to make the circle for the donut here, the hole, right? So we're going to go like this, and we're going to make the hole for the donut, just like that. Now to make it look a little bit more 3D, a little bit more realistic, we're going to add a layer here to make it look like the donut goes deeper and that there's a shadow, okay? It's kind of like a cave. So starting at the top here, you're going to go like this. You're going to make kind of like a crescent shape that goes there, and it gets really small as it connects back there. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna make mine kind of wrap around a little bit more, just like that. It looks weird, I know, but when we paint it, it will start to look the way it's supposed to. Yeah, I'll show you on this one here. So when I was drawing this originally, I was like, oh, that looks kind of weird. But do you see I have that right there? That's the part that looks like the donut is more 3D. Okay, fun part now. We're going to do the icing or the glaze. It depends what you call it. But what we're gonna do is around the edge here, you don't wanna touch the edge of your donut, but we're going to just make kind of like a wavy line that goes around the edge, just like so. Okay? Once you've done that, you're gonna do the same thing, but it's gonna be around here. So I'm gonna go and make a wavy line just like that. Okay, we are done painting, or drawing our donut so we can get painting. So first we're gonna start from the bottom and work our way up. So we're going to start with the cake part or the dough part of the donut, because you always make that part first before you decorate. So what you're going to do is take your brush, get it a little bit wet if you're working with paper, like me. If you're using, you know, pick if you need to wet your brush depending on the material you're using to paint on. And take a little bit of your brown. And actually, you know what, let's move it to a new spot and we're gonna lighten this up a little bit. So, I'm gonna move some of this here. I'm gonna take a small scoop of yellow and mix it in to make it look a little golden. It's just a subtle little touch there. And then take some white and mix it in to just lighten it up a little bit. Just like so. And remember, when you're mixing paint, don't make a big puddle of paint. Try to move it all back into the middle to reduce the surface area, because if there's more surface area, it means your paint's gonna dry really fast. Okay? So let's start here. And all we're gonna do is go around the outside of your donut. And you can work in small sections too. So I'm gonna follow along on the glaze here, just like so. Ta-da! Okay, and I'm gonna work my way all the way around. Now the cool thing about this step is that if you don't like, if you don't like part of the way you drew your glaze, or if, say when I get here, I want to choose which line. I can go between that one or that one. You can do that. This is your piece of art. You can make it look however you wish. So you can go along the edges here, just like so. And again, does it need to be, perfectly straight lines? Nope. Can it be a little rough looking? Of course. This is your artwork, and sometimes when we add those little painterly touches, we call them, like when it's a little see-through there, or a little bumpy, or the lines kind of have breaks in them, that looks cool. That's how we know it's a painting. And yeah, it looks nice and textural. So you know what, I'm going to take my line past. I'm gonna make this one pretty wide over here. And follow that furthest out line. There we go. Okay. I need to add a little bit more water because the air conditioning's on today. It is a hot one. I'm not sure if anyone's been outside yet. Maybe you came in to cool off from being outside, but it is hot. I had the dogs outside for a while and they were panting. They need to come in and lay on the cool floor. Looks like a good idea. Okay, so we're done the outside, just about, of your donut. Now, if you're not quite done, don't worry. And if you are painting with me and I'm going a little bit too fast, please let me know in the comments. But also, these videos are totally going to be uploaded to our YouTube channel and hopefully IGTV later today. So if you get to a certain point and you forgot a spot, go back and look at the video and you can kind of finish up that way. Sometimes it's good to watch how something comes together first before you try it. It's awesome if you're painting along with me. That's amazing. But sometimes, you fall behind or you get an interruption. Speaking of that, everyone's up now, so we might have some interruptions. So the next thing we're gonna do is we're going to paint here. Remember we did that weird little dark spot that's gonna become a shadow? Start with that first. Go around that shadow, just like so. And then paint up to that glaze layer, that kind of bumpy layer. Actually, I wonder what kind of, what glazes you guys are gonna make for your donuts. If everyone's gonna do pink, if we have some people that are going to do like a green or a chocolate. Ooh, a chocolate would be awesome. Yeah, actually I should have made a chocolate donut. Oh well, pink was nice and bright for a Friday. Oops, no big deal, right? Okay, so see how I left that little spot there alone? That's awesome. That's what we're gonna work with next. So we have some of this left over. Don't worry about washing your brush because we're going to make the dark version of the brown. So once you've done that part, take a scoop of brown, move it to a new spot, and take just a teeny tiny bit of black, just like so, very small, and you can mix it in. Oh, and see, that was even a little bit more than I wanted. So that's why you have to be careful with some of these darker colors, right? Because they can take over really easy. So all I have to do is take more of the brown and mix it in. That's a little bit better. Okay, so if you have a fine point brush like this, you can use it for this step. I'm going to use my square flat because I'm very comfortable with the chisel edge I can make. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with this kind of crescent shape here. So we're going to take the dark. Actually, you know what? I put way too much paint on that brush. Just like so. So I'm going to clean it off, start again, because we can, right? It's art and we can do that. So just like so. And I'm going to trace along that circle here. And look what I'm going to do as I get to this side. I'm going to take that line and go right along the edge, just like so. Okay? Then you can use your brush to fill in the rest of that crescent, like so. Okay, so I have a little like dot there that I made when I had too much paint on my brush. I kind of like it. It looks like a crumb. So you know what? I'm going to add just another little one or two here, just to make it look like I did that on purpose. Because yes, why? Maybe I did do it on purpose. Add some crumbs. Okay, next thing we're going to do is take your dark brown again, and we're going to do the same thing. So we're going to add a dark line around the outside of your donut, just like that. And then we're going to do a line that's kind of rough right along the edge of your glaze. So there's just a little bit of this light golden brown poking through, okay? So what we're going to do, I like doing the inside first. So just kind of go along and see how I'm just kind of letting my brush kind of jump and get wider and narrower at different spots. That will actually mean that the glaze is thicker and thinner in some spots, because if you've ever had a homemade donut, glazes aren't, you know, some are perfectly shiny and beautiful, but they're perfectly imperfect, right? So they have little bumps and extra sprinkles and things that make it higher and lower, just like so. Okay? So I did all around the glaze, and now I'm going to go around the edge of my donut, just like so. Now today, my hand's pretty steady. As I said that, I just pushed down a little harder, but I'm able to get a single line around my donut. If that doesn't work, and you know you like doing the feathering step kind of like this, go ahead and do that. Do whatever works the best for you. Our dishwasher's done. Okay, so oh look, yep. Remember when I said I had control today? Ha! Oh, that's funny. Okay, so you're gonna finish around the outside. Now I just realized in this one, I forgot to do a line around the glaze there. So guess what? We're gonna do that on this one here. So with your brush, you're going to do just a little tiny line, and this one can be especially a little bit broken. Don't worry if it's not perfect, because we're gonna cover some of it with our glaze color. Okay, amazing. Next, what you're going to do is wash your brush, and we're going to move on to the glaze. And I'm gonna just take time washing my brush in case you're catching up. Yeah, again, don't worry if you can't keep up exactly with me. I tend to do things pretty fast, so sometimes it goes like that. Okay, so for my glaze color, I'm going to use pink. So we're gonna make a lighter version of this pink and a darker version of this pink to show some variation in the glaze. So if you see here, it looks like all one big pink color, but there's some lighter bits here, there's some darker bits here. We're gonna make some variation and add some depth to our glaze before we put on the sprinkles. Okay, so I'm gonna take some of my pink, and this is an easy peasy step, and actually I've switched to my bigger brush just so I can cover more area. But just because I'm using a bigger brush doesn't mean I don't take care with what I'm doing. So I'm gonna start here, and just like before, you kind of follow along nice and slow along the edges of your donut, just like so. And then once you get into a spot that has more space, you can go a little bit more crazy, a little bit more free. Yeah, don't go crazy with the paint, although that's really fun. But you don't have to be as precise. And you don't want to leave any white spots between the glaze and the donut. It's totally okay if you go over the donut a little bit, but we don't want to see, like if I left a white space there, looks like it's unfinished, right? So we want to go over, and it's okay if you do, because it looks like the glaze is sitting on the donut. Just like so. See, you can go a little crazy, like a little freer, a little faster once you get the main part done. So I'm gonna go just around here. Oh, there we go. Does anyone have a favorite kind of donut? Or favorite kinds of donuts, or just any donut? When I was really little, my favorites were the white, like jelly-filled ones that had all the icing sugar on the outside. Those were my favorite. And they were so messy. And I think that's why I love them, because they were super messy and satisfying. And they look like little clouds. Yeah, oh, actually, like I mentioned before, earlier in the video, I found a video on YouTube that I'm gonna share with you that makes 2-ingredient donuts. So you only need 2 ingredients. You need yogurt and flour. And I made them yesterday, and they turn out so good. They're delicious. I think you should all try it. Okay, and actually the recipe called for vanilla yogurt, and I didn't have vanilla yogurt. I only had raspberry, and they still turned out really, really, really good. So it doesn't matter what you've got. You can make them, and they'll turn out really good. Okay, so we have our first layer of glaze. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some lighter version of the color, or of the pink, or whatever color you're using for glaze. So I'm going to move it over to a new spot. I'm not going to wash my brush because we've already got lots on here. I'm going to take some white, and you're going to mix it in, just like so. And you want it to be lighter, but you don't want it to be like super pastel light. I'm going to make this just a touch lighter so it'll show up better on camera. Got some beautiful light today. So what we're going to do is do a few spots on our donut. So I'll wait a second or two to have it, make sure everyone has their light pink ready, and then we're gonna work in sections. So you can put this really wherever you want, but if you want it to look more like mine, follow along with me. Okay, so we're gonna start up here, and I'm just gonna put this here so I can see for my own reference. So I'm gonna do a lighter section right along the top here. And it's just one stroke like so. Then I'm going to do a second one under here, just like that. Okay. Next, what I'm going to do is a little area right over here, and I'm going to go like this. And it doesn't have to be exactly the same as mine. I just put a little bump there because I have a little bump there, but I'm going to make it a little wider and extend it a bit like so. Okay. And then the next spot I'm going to do is at the bottom. So these light spots are actually where the glaze might be higher. Maybe there's like a little hill in the donut, a little bump, and they stick up a little bit. And that's where it would be shiniest, right? Stuff that's higher tends to be closer to the sun and be a little bit shinier. So I'm going to put a little one here, and then I'm going to bump it down and do another little one here. And I'm just going to smooth those out a little bit by pressing a little bit lighter. And I'm going to do another one up there. Okay. So yes, looks strange, I know. But it's just some depth we're gonna add to make our glaze and donut look a little bit more 3D. Okay, so wash your brush, dry it on a paper towel, and we're going to make some darker version of this pink. So I'm gonna take some of my pink over here, move it to a new spot. And remember when we added the black here and it got really dark? We just wanna add a teeny tiny touch. So, tiny, 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 tiny. Maybe that's too much. Remember what another thing you can do too is if you're afraid you have too much, mix it into a lighter version there because it's already diluted with the pink, and you can add that darker version into here. Also, if you don't have black, I'll show you, you can actually use a little bit of green, and that will darken up your glaze as well. Yeah, pink and green oftentimes make like a purpley gray, so that's great. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're going to add some shadows. So I'm going to start up here, and I'm going to add a layer just like that into there. And then I'm going to take a little bit more, and I'm going to add a layer here. Okay, I'm doing the outside first. And I'm going to add a little one here. And it's okay if it overlaps over the light a little bit. That's totally okay. So I've done one there, one there, one there. Oops, see what I did there? Let's see if I can fix that. We can probably fix that. There we go, no big deal. Now we're gonna add some shadows around the inside because in a donut, this would go in. So this would be higher, right? So this would start to get a little darker because it wouldn't be getting as much light. So we're gonna do a shadow here, shadow there, and a shadow here. Okay? And then what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna add a little one here just to kind of extend that in. And you can look at your donut, and if anywhere looks too light or too dark, you can go ahead and add those in. Okay, so now wash your brush, and because we've added these layers, we're going to kind of meld them together by adding your regular glaze color back on top to kind of soften some of them. So I'm actually just having to get a little bit more of my pink paint. So I guess it didn't take that much, no big deal. Okay, and then I'm gonna take just a little bit on my brush, and then in a few spots that might be too light, like see right here, I'm actually just gonna take my brush and put some squiggle lines over top, just like so. Yep, you can just kind of work it in. You don't wanna get rid of all your shadows and lights, but you want it to look a little bit softer, just like so. And see how I'm pressing really lightly with my brush? I'm not pressing hard at all. It's just to give it like its own kind of glaze, just like so. Okay. Next, what you can do is the fun part. You can wash your brush because we don't need the big one anymore. We're done with the glaze. We're going to do the last part of this painting, and we're gonna add some sprinkles. So I like using a fine point brush. I can get those nice little lines like this, if everyone can see. You know, I'll do it on the back of this one here. So we're gonna make lines that look like this. They're called dashes. And when you're making sprinkles, you don't want them to go in a line like this. Every single time you do a different one, change the angle, okay? That way they'll look a little bit more realistic, right? Because when you sprinkle sprinkles out of a can, they don't line up nicely. How cool would it be if they did though? We want them to be a little bit more random, just like there. So I'm gonna put this back down, and I'm gonna move my card over here. Okay, so I'm gonna start with some green, some of this teal, and then I'm just going to start to do some sprinkles. All the way around my donut. Just like that, little dashes all over. You can put some closer together, you can put some more farther away. It's up to you. Just like so. Okay, first layer, donut has sprinkles, yay. So since I have this green on my brush, I'm actually gonna move it over here, and I'm gonna take a little bit of white to make a lighter version of this green, since I'm working with it. Make it really light actually. And I'm gonna do another layer of these white sprinkles, or light teal sprinkles, I guess. I wonder what flavor this donut would be. Do you think it'd be raspberry? Do you think it'd be strawberry? Maybe bubblegum? Has anyone had a bubblegum donut before? That sounds like something I would love when I was younger. And I do just want to give a shout out to Kayla. She's one of my friends. She is the donut queen. She loves donuts. She draws them. She made a whole series of cats around donuts called Donut Cat. She was selling cards and stuff for Christmas and birthdays and stuff. This is her day. Yep, this is her holiday. Okay, so I've done, hi Kayla. I've done some green, I've done some teal. I'm gonna do some yellow. So I'm gonna go right into my yellow paint. Now my yellow is a little bit see-through, so I'm gonna take a little bit of white just to kind of pump it up a little bit, make it a little bit more opaque, so less transparent. So less see-through and more solid. And guess what? Same thing. Do some sprinkles, just like that, all the way around. Now, if you're afraid, or if you've done it already, that you've accidentally put your hand in your painting, you have all the colors, you can fix it up. You might want to try moving your painting around just like this, so that your hand stays in one spot and you don't accidentally drag your hand through the paint, because I am notorious for doing that. It took me a long time to learn to pay attention to where my hand was in my painting. Ta-da! Okay, so I'm actually going to wash my brush again. I'm going to do some white sprinkles, because I love the white ones. And I think that's going to be my last layer, because I put many more sprinkles on this donut than I did on my original. So I'm going to add some whites. Oh, and see, my brush is really wet. And this white, for some reason, really likes to hold on to paint, or to water, sorry. It's good that paint holds on to paint. That's a very good thing. But see how there's a little puddle of water there? Yeah, I'm not sure why. Just sucks the water right out. And I always forget. Okay. So this is the last layer of your donut that I'm going to do on here, actually. You are more than welcome to super sprinkle your donut up. You can have as many different kinds of sprinkles. You can do different shapes. You don't have to do dashes. You can do dots. You can do like shaped sprinkles, stars. Ooh, that would look really cool. That'd be a lot of work, because stars can be tricky, but you know what? It'd probably be a good way to practice doing stars, because you'd have to do them over and over. So by the time you'd cover one donut full of stars, you'd probably be like a star pro. Okay. So, let's see. And see how I've gotten a little quicker? Yep, you get into like a rhythm and a groove, and you find, you know, the first couple, especially even with a new color, you go a little bit more careful, and then you kind of get a little bit more loose with it. I'll put one more right there. Okay, so that is how you make a painted sprinkle donut in celebration of International Donut Day. So thanks again for joining me. I'm sorry for the delay in getting us up here. We're trying some new stuff with our live streams, so hopefully they're going to be a little bit more polished and pretty and, you know, tech savvy coming up soon. But just like technology, we're learning, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So thanks for those who did tune in. Again, this video will be posted on our YouTube channel afterwards, as well as hopefully on our IGTV. We would love to see pictures of your donuts, the ones you painted or the ones you've made, and I'm going to share the link for the 2-ingredient donuts shortly. So please tag us in any of your photos. Our handle is @NOTLLibrary. And if you have any questions or comments or feedback, send me an email, kdupuy@notlpl.org. Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. Okay, enjoy the rest of your Friday in this beautiful weather, the sunshine, and just a little bit of clouds, but it's beautiful outside today. Hopefully you have a wonderful weekend, and we will see you on Monday for our regularly scheduled NOTLLibrary Live Create with Kasia, Mondays at 4 p.m. Okay, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. Bye.